Okay, so Canada's federal political situation. Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives have been sitting pretty easy here for a while, and depending on the poll that you look at, reputable polls in this country, the Conservatives are anywhere from 15 to 20 points up, depending on the week and depending on the story. Justin Trudeau and the Liberals have a long way to go. This is just a latest example. This is a Nanos research poll. 17-point lead for Pierre Poilievre and the federal Conservatives. Now, again, we're not looking at an election till October of 2025-ish. That's kind of the time frame. But yesterday was a very interesting day because Pierre Poilievre, in the media availability, kind of let it fly. And we haven't seen this from the Conservative leader in a bit. Here is a synopsis of what was said yesterday. Pierre Poilievre is against impending legislation that would combat hate speech, terrorist content, and violent material online. The bill isn't even written yet, but he went after Trudeau for that. He also said Trudeau is not the leader to introduce this legislation because he wore blackface and racist costumes in the past. Poilievre went on to say he is against transgender women in female bathrooms, changing rooms, and in sports. Also, he said Trudeau should stay out of New Brunswick provincial legislation that would no longer protect 2S LGBTQ plus students in school. So there are a lot of very important issues here that he made a decision on publicly, Tam, and there were also just pot shots towards Justin Trudeau. Now, for those who've known Pierre Poilievre a long time, they will tell you this is Pierre Poilievre. The Pierre Poilievre that will just go at you. Now, the other side is the Conservatives have spent a lot of money trying to soften his image because there are some people who believe that's not electable. I don't care what the polls say, that is not electable in certain parts of the country. Do you think Pierre being Pierre, Tam, is going to hurt him, or are the numbers so skewed right now where we're going to get a prime minister whether people like it or not? Or a new prime minister, whether people like it or not?
I think that it might be too early at this point to skew those numbers. There are those Canadians who are just so frustrated with Trudeau and the Trudeau Liberals at this point when they're dealing with things like affordability and housing shortages and so on, that yes, they have thrown their support behind the Conservatives in these polls over the last little while. However, you may lose some of those people when you're talking about these issues in this way. When it comes to the 2S LGBTQ plus community, you're going to lose those moderates who might have been going to the Conservatives. They may, swing back somewhere else. But you're going to gain a lot more. He's speaking right to a lot of his base. And a lot of those folks are going to be, once again, it's going to stir up controversy online, and a lot of those folks will get behind him. And I think that the poll numbers will even out and stay just as skewed as they are right now.
But the key word there, Tam, I agree with a lot of that. It's base, though. Like, it's people he already technically has under the Poilievre tent and the federal Conservative tent. You do have to broaden the team here if you do want to become prime minister, even on a minority level. Like, you do have to look at more than just who's fundraising for you and who you were speaking to directly in a leadership campaign. Do you think this changes any of that, Mayor?
Well, I think, like Tam said, I think it comes down to timing. And I think now is the time to speak to that base. I think it's very interesting, though, to take note of all that he is saying at this time, even still, because you show who you are as you go through this campaign. And we've got still time to make some of those decisions. But when you're speaking about limiting rights towards bodies in general, I mean, these are conversations we've seen play out stateside. We know where this is headed. And I think for a lot of people who have been hearing him speak more to that affordability conversation, this is a bit of a wake-up call. This is who he purports to be, and we need to see who our leaders are. So I'm glad we have some time here.
I agree with you. That's some of the rhetoric we're seeing south of the border, right? From the very conservative conservatives there. He's kind of followed up on that. There's a thing about negativity spreading faster than positivity. He's playing off a lot of what we see online when people talking about the wokeism. People will comment still, well, Justin Trudeau did blackface. That was many, many years ago, and that's been in the news for quite some time.
And 2 election cycles have gone by.
Right, and again, It's not right what he did, but we've seen that before. So why are you're digging that up again? So what you don't say can't hurt you. And he is saying a lot of things to speak to that core that really has followed him. I don't know if that spreads to more people and gathering that, but the message, because of that negativity, it's attractive and people jump on it, and especially online, it is quick to gain some traction from that base.
But again, it's an audience that's already Team Poilievre.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying, like in my head, like I almost think this is a trial balloon for him in the party. Can you be now truly Pierre and still keep a 15-point lead? Because if that doesn't change in the next 2-3 weeks, because I'm assuming there's going to be more of this. Because at some point, if he's going to be prime minister, he has to be on the record of what he actually believes
100%.
on a lot of things that are going to come up on the campaign trail. And listen, whether you agree or disagree, this has to be on the record if he wants to be the next prime minister. If he's got that kind of edge to him yesterday and he stays in the lead, look out. With that said, Aaron O'Toole, line one. Aaron O'Toole thought he had Justin Trudeau where he wanted him. Andrew Scheer, line one. Andrew Scheer thought he had Justin Trudeau. Stephen Harper, where are you at? Where's Stephen Harper at? A skilled politician who did not think a party in third place was going to come out of nowhere and all of a sudden another Trudeau was going to be in office. Do not write off his chances. He was on this couch not long ago with you, Tam, and you brought up the polls, and he was very quick, and it's not an opinion, it's factual. They've been in bad spots before in the polls, plenty of times, and he's on his third term. So to me, the next 2 or 3 weeks are going to be very important looking at these numbers.
Yeah, let's see where it
Very
goes after those
interesting to
statements to
me.
see if it moves the line.
Because
on that.
before Christmas, when Pierre Poilievre kind of had everyone in the House of Commons voting overnight, and there were some votes about Ukraine aid that were interesting to say the least, his numbers did dip a little bit. They're back to where they were. Where does this go? We'll find out as we approach a very significant election in this country. And it seems like far off. It seems like the campaign has already started, right?
It's going to come like this.
Yeah, already started.
People that just want change no matter what, right? They're not even looking at
100%.
certain comments.
Yeah.
They're just like, I want something different.
100%.
I don't like my current state. So.